thinking about getting into real estate, right? It's your first time looking at a house or even contemplating a home buyer. There's a few things you need to do as you just start getting prepared, right? It's prepare. Purchasing a home is probably the largest transaction most people are going to engage in. And so you can't really rush into it. I don't think anyone should rush into it. The first thing you need to do when you're preparing is start saving. If you don't have any savings, that's going to be an issue for you. You might be able to get a loan, but let's think about it from a common sense perspective. When you are moving, it's going to cost money, right? Also, owning a home is something, you own a home too. There's all kinds of unexpected expenses, right? So you need to have something. I'm not saying have $20,000 in the bank, but have something that you can fall back on for.
Would you say like 10,000 or more?
It's really different. I don't like to give people numbers because what's comfortable for you may not be comfortable for me. What you can live off of is not necessarily the number that I can live off of. But I know in general, everyone should have 6 months of their living expenses saved up. That's really difficult for a lot of people. But that's the general guideline for basic living. And that's whether you're renting or you own a home. That's just general because life happens. And I think a lot of people have just realized that because of COVID, right? But just costs that you need to think about when you're going into buying a house. Closing costs, right? Depending on the loan you're using, you may have to pay closing costs. And I can talk about the different loans and what the closing costs might look like. And also down payments. Again, depending on your loan, you may have to come up with a down payment, which is money that you pay up front towards the purchase of your home. And then
do closing costs vary? Like how much do closing costs vary? I know it depends on the loan you said, but.
Yeah, so guideline, when you're thinking about closing costs, it's estimate 2 to 5% of your loan amount. And your loan amount is going to be your purchase price minus your down payment equals your loan amount. So factor in, if you aim high, if you say, look, I know I want to buy the house, this is the amount of my loan, go for the 5%. Because if you end up not needing the full 5%, that's money in the bank for you, right? That's savings right there that you can use.
Right.
Something that a lot of people don't realize is it's free to review your credit report.
It is?
Yes. Go to annualcreditreport.com. This is not for your credit score. This is for the report so you can see what's actually being recorded on your credit report.
That's good. That's good to know because there's a lot of subscriptions and people think that they're not going to be able to get it. But
it is free. So tip in general, right? It's you're entitled to one free credit report per year from each of the credit reporting agencies. We have 3. We have Equifax, Experian, and we have TransUnion. You go to annualcreditreport.com. That was created under the Obama administration, actually, that whole process where you're entitled to it for free. And
thank God for Obama.
Now because of COVID, so it used to be 1 per year, right? And so what I would do, what I always recommend is every 4 months, I would actually, in my budget, it actually says, okay, April is when I pull from Experian. And you have to know which one is your annual, because if you try to come into Experian in month 11, they're going to tell you need to pay because you just had it 11 months ago. So you have to wait till the end, right? So if you stagger it, every 4 months you pull from one of them, then you can consistently stay on top of what's being reported on your credit. And the reason you're doing it is because you want to make sure, first of all, this is how you find out if someone's fraudulently using your credit, right? Instead of having to pay for LifeLock or whatever else there is out there. But also you can check and see if other people are reporting incorrect information. If there is incorrect information, you don't want to have that on your report when you're looking for a house, because that's the first thing that the lender's going to pull when they try to see if you're approved for credit. So just stay on top of it. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Do you think it's a good idea to get, let's say that I want to go buy a house and I want to just kind of dabble and see if I would even get approved for like a loan, right? So how would you recommend just, I mean, does that like kind of kill your credit score to just go see if you would be pre-approved?
So I always recommend, once you're serious and you're ready to start looking, get a pre-approval. Because if you don't know what you can afford, what are you looking at? You know, the worst thing in the world is to go out there and think you can afford X because you just came up with this number. and then you fall in love with a house, and then you go through the pre-approval process and you find out, you know, you really can't afford that house, because they look at different things. It's more than just how much money are you making, right? They look at, and I'm not a lender, right? That's one thing I'm not getting into.
Right. I know you're not a lender, but if somebody comes to you and it's like, I want to buy a house.
They look at things like, what's your debt to income ratio? Like, how much debt do you have compared to how much income you're pulling in? They're also going to look at what is your total loan balance versus what your credit line is. So let's take a credit card. If you have a $10,000 credit limit and your balance is $9,000, that's not going to look as good as the person with $10,000 limit and a $100 credit balance, right?
Right.
So all of that stuff gets factored in when they do a pre-approval. Another reason why you need a pre-approval, especially in the COVID world, there are sellers that won't even let you come into their home without a pre-approval because it's unsafe to let strangers in, right? Yeah. So get your pre-approval.